step 2 now is going to be direct Reddit extraction. So below these trainings, guys, we'll have the appropriate document. This will actually all be under the same document, so you'll see that. But just look below the trainings. All the resources you need will be there. All right? I promise they'll be there. Just make sure you're paying attention to that. But we're going to now do something that is very, very important, which is extract direct feedback from our target audience through Reddit forums. So the first thing to understand is the type of product that you selected is going to have a big impact of how well you can do this. If you picked a product that doesn't solve a big enough problem, a problem that is widespread and discussed through different Reddit forums and different groups and communities, then that already is a bad sign for your ability to potentially scale this product. Right now, there will be a little bit of creative thinking required. Some products or some problems are not as just straightforward as neck problems Reddit forum or back problem Reddit forum. Some problems you're going to need to look through more abstract and more creative. You're going to need a little bit more creative reasoning to find unique Reddit groups. So an example of this is, let's say I was selling a product, let's say a necklace, for some reason, a necklace to grandmas, right? So obviously, and the whole idea behind this necklace is it's a necklace that you give to your grandma, or it's a necklace grandmas give to their kids or grandkids, and they give it to them because the grandma or the older person feels like they're going to die soon. Right? I'm just making up stuff. So let's pretend grandparents are dying soon and they want to leave a gift to their grandkids or even their kids. You're not going to find a one-to-one like Reddit forum that's like, what gifts should I give if I'm getting ready to die? I mean, maybe you might be able to, but you're probably not, right? So you're going to probably have to type in stuff like grandparents thoughts on Reddit, or Reddit. I'm just typing this in Google. I know you can't see the screen, but you would type in something like this, right? Grandparents.reddit. And you would see and go through and see what are people saying on Reddit forums and stuff like that for grandparents specifically. You're going to have to look more macro, more creative if you don't have a clear, distinct product like this product here, which we're getting ready to talk about, right? So let me break into the instructions and then we'll reiterate some points if need be. So the idea here is we're going to do two things. One, we're going to start off by getting this Reddit scraper tool. Right? So if you click here, go to this here, just hit add to Chrome and pin this Reddit scraper tool to your Chrome dashboard. All right, so this is going to allow you to scrape the exact Reddit forums and the comments from those Reddit forums into a CSV file that we can then upload into Claude, which is going to be very powerful because now we're taking the guesswork out of scraping. Now, two questions that might come to mind. One, Alex, don't we already do this with the Google Gemini scraper? Yes and no. So the Google Gemini scraper does scrape Reddit forums and stuff like that. But one, I find that it doesn't scrape it as well as we want to and as detailed as we want to. So some Reddit forums will have 100 comments, but the Google Gemini will only scrape 5 to 10 of those comments. And then two, even if the Google Gemini does a good enough job scraping that information, it then starts to add in other context, like other peer-reviewed articles or data points to come up with inferences. So it's good, but for the sake of what we're going to do, we're going to be using this specifically for high leverage stuff that isn't as, that we literally don't want any AI to infer or guess or assume. We're trying to literally get one-to-one replication of what is said in the Reddit forums and the information we gather from it. Hopefully that's clear and concise, and you guys are understanding the concept there. So what are the instructions, Alex? Well, the first thing you want to do is install this Reddit comment scraper. The next thing you want to do is literally just go into Google and find as many Reddit forums as possible that talk about the pain or the desire that your target audience wants. And again, you might have to think a little bit outside the box. If I'm selling a product that helps back pain, I might look through some back pain Reddit forums, but I might also go into Google and just simply type in, what are some symptoms of back pain? And maybe you might notice that a symptom of back pain is also knee pain or knee soreness, right? And then I'll start looking in and I'll type in other Reddit forums, right? So obviously the example I'm going to be using is going to be very easy. There's a million Reddit forums about neck pain, but for some of you, you're going to need to think outside the box. You're going to be finding products that are a little bit more obscured and are not going to be one-to-one solutions. You might have a skincare product. Not every skincare Reddit forum is going to be as straightforward as how do I get better looking skin, right? You might need to look into things like rosacea or hyperpigmentation. And if you're not sure, ask ChatGPT, right? You're not sure, go to ChatGPT and literally say, I'm having a little bit of I am trying to do direct research using only Reddit forums to extract direct customer feedback from my ideal customers. The issue is I'm selling an obscured product that isn't as easy to find, like neck pain. I'm selling a magnetic bracelet for grandparents that feel like they're dying and aren't leaving anything important to their grandkids. Help me do research and find 10 Reddit forums that I can use to scrape to find potential good customer feedback. And then you just type this in and ChatGPT will help scrape some stuff for you. And then you can find, and it'll tell you, does this actually link Reddit forums? Yeah. So it actually will link the Reddit forums for you. Now, what I would recommend you do is go through each of these Reddit forums and try to find subreddits under these Reddit forums, right? So this one is Ask Old People, right? I would have never known this is a Reddit forum. And then this would be one that I could scrape. I can go through and scrape, but then try to think. And I think there's, okay, boom. So here you go. Appropriate places to seek advice may be And you can find other recommended Reddit forums that maybe chat didn't mention or you didn't mention, but advice, relationship advice, boom, boom, boom. And then based on the prompting and stuff we're going to do, here's another one, right? Ask old people advice. So that is a associated Reddit forum. And then, yeah, so if you're not sure, this is how you can leverage a resource. You can do this in Claude too. If you don't want to do this, go in Claude. It's going to tell you some Reddit forums to go through and then go through them, right? So that's essentially what you would want to do there. So, all right, now what does it look like in theory, right? So you're going to use the Reddit scraper tool here. And literally what you're going to do is type in the mass desire, mass pain point, or whatever the case may be. So in this case here, what we're going to do is go here and just type in neck pain. And then put Reddit at the end of anything that you're typing in. So as you can see, I already did this. The point here is that you would want you want 10, at minimum of 10 scraped Reddit forums. And ideally, you'd want it to hear it from the person themselves. They will sometimes show you like the they'll show you like the r Reddit, right? Like r/Reddit would be the headline here of the whatever the Reddit is. I normally like to get my comments or my scraping from the actual comment post itself. So as you can see here, this first one opens up directly to the person's actual comment rather than, the Reddit form itself, hypermobility. Right? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So anyway, what I would literally do is open that up. I would then use this tool. Now, you're going to probably want to get the pro version, which is what I have here. I have the Pro Max version, which essentially is literally $19 a month, and that or $20 a month. That allows you to scrape everything: Quora, Facebook, Amazon, even. Or you can just get the Reddit only one for $4.99, right? Like I recommend just getting the Reddit one only. I got the expensive one because I'm like, oh, I'm curious to see how this works, and I tested it for a little bit, and it's pretty dope. But if you want to go a step further and scrape stuff on Quora, YouTube comment sections, it allows you to do that as well. So anyway, what you literally do is just hit this button here. Scrape comments, and look how sick this is, man. What I would also recommend you do, by the way, go to settings, make sure you have post title, post body, and subreddit checked on, and make sure your settings look like this. But look how sick this is. It's literally gonna extract every single thing here, and all you gotta do is just hit CSV file. Go to Claude here, and then just dump that bad boy in there. And you're gonna just do this a minimum of 10 times. The more you do, the better data you're gonna collect. I'm gonna give you the prompt that we're gonna use in a moment here, but literally just do this a minimum of 10 times. And try to make sure the Reddit form you have has a couple, people commenting on it. If it's just one person, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Take it, especially if it's a long story like this. But ideally, you would, if you can, try to get ones that have multiple people commenting and responding to, because the AI is I've prompted it so the AI knows how to conceptualize the conversations that are happening. So then we just go here, and what you can do is just open these all up in a new tab like this. And then once you're done scraping it, you can remove it. Or you can just do one by one, whatever helps you focus. But try to get literally as many as you can. A minimum of 10. Don't do any less than 10 because you want as many data points and touch points as possible, right? So we already use this one here. So what we're going to do is this one here. And it wouldn't hurt to also, as you're scraping these, kind of like take a quick glance and read some of these. You're going to read them all, especially if you're trying to do this quickly. But to kind of just get a good 50-foot overview of what the form is saying and making sure it's like relative to what you're essentially looking to do. All right. So boom, scrape comments. Okay. CSV file, bring it over to Claude. Boom. Remove that one. Boom. CSV file. I think you guys kind of get the gist here. Really straightforward stuff here. And then remove this one. Boom. Scrape comments. CSV file. And then bring it over to Claude. Another cool thing about this tool, by the way, if you notice, if I scrape here, you can see insights here, and you can see top words, top phrases as well. This is some also good stuff to just make note of. Nothing too crazy, nothing too groundbreaking, but little notes there can help you just further contextualize everything that's happening and making sure you have a good general understanding of what the market is saying and some of the top keywords and phrases that they're using. So what are we at now? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. So again, a minimum of a total of a minimum of 10 total scrapes. Again, if you want to go on, if you have a big enough thing like neck pain, like the example I'm using, you might want to do 20, 30 of these, right? The more feedback and data you have of this, the better. I'm telling you, be as detail oriented as possible. So a minimum of 10, feel free to do more. And then you're good to go. Just make sure that you're not like dirtying up the data by going too deep and you're just using irrelevant Reddit forms. Make sure that Reddit forms are actually relevant to the pain being discussed. How do you do that? Just quickly glance through and just make sure that they're talking about the topic that you expect them to be talking about. All right, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. All right, so now we have 10. So that's the second step there. Now the third step here is simple. You're going to literally ignore this screen capture tool. We're going to circle back to that in the second training here, but you're now just going to copy all this bad boy. And essentially what this prompt is doing, I would recommend you read it. All it's essentially doing is extracting the data directly from what we pulled. And we're going to try to read and analyze the data from the lens of Eugene Schwartz and any other great marketer that's come before us. And essentially the biggest thing here is we're not trying to guess or assume. We're trying to literally be put exactly in the lens and the shoes of our target audience, understand their pain and interpret it through their pain as a direct response marketer. And we're not trying to guess or assume or forecast. We're only making and gathering data based off of what we extracted directly from these forms. Right? And that's like one of the differences between the Google Gemini scrape and the Claude 2A document versus this one here. Little fun fact for you, by the way, if you do Control-Shift-V, you can actually paste long pieces of copy in a way that allows you to edit and change things. If not, if you just do Control-V, it pastes it this way. Little fun fact that I learned recently. So yeah, that's all you got to do and just hit enter. And now we're going to be able to gather some really deep understanding and pain of our target audience without aligning or connecting any specific attributes or characteristics or specific scenarios outside of what we already scraped for our target audience, right? So this is really going to nail down a specific approach in our messaging and copy. So it's going to create everything and we'll be back when it's done. All right, so I want you guys to, really spend some time reviewing this stuff because already as it currently stands, a lot of people talk about the importance of manual research, right? Going through the copy, or going through the Reddit forums yourself, reading through it yourself. This essentially allows you to extrapolate all that information and put it in a very easy to read document that allows you to still do the manual research, but now it's conceptualized for you. Now you should still use your brain power here and read through this and understand it. But let's go through this together so you guys can understand what's happening, right? So first thing is this. It's just considered the market intelligence synthesis report. It's about the 10 threads across 7 subreddits. So tension 1, right? So the whole idea is to figure out the 5 emotional tension points, right? What are the biggest things that people are struggling with? I've tried everything and nothing has worked. So this is mixed acute episodes of desperation layered on top of chronic foundation of exhaustion and defeat. The direct language extraction, exact quotes only, nothing works. I've tried so many different pillows, but no difference. All right. So what's one of the first things that we see here? Pillows. Please, does anyone have advice on what to do for really bad neck pain, tightness, boom, boom, boom? So this is going to be direct quotes here. We're going to get high validation quotes. So PT, no cryo, physical therapy, but you have to still do exercises at home after 15 years dealing with the same issues, varying degrees of hell. So here's a report, right? Here's a summary of everything it's gathered from the direct response, right? This is the defining emotional tension of the entire data set. It appears every single thread in both original posts and comments across all subreddits. The specific construction, I've tried everything, reoccurs verbatim across multiple posts from different people in different communities, which signals that this phrase has become the emotional shorthand for a lived experience that people cannot otherwise compress. What is notable is how the language escalates. People do not begin by saying they've tried everything. They list the things that they have tried, methodology in bullet points or commas, sometimes for several paragraphs, and only for after the listing does the collapse of weight of nothing works arrive. The listing is the emotional content. The list is the proof. The list is a case being made to an invisible jury. The language is direct parted outward at the medical system. I go to the chiropractor weekly, partly at themselves. I've been mindful of my posture, and then partly at the universe and audience. Nothing seems to help. So they're blaming chiropractors themselves, and then it's just the universe. The phrase "everything that relieved it somewhat was temporary" is particularly revealing because it shows people have calibrated their hope downward before giving up entirely. They stopped looking for a cure and started looking for relief, and even that failed. The dark humor in praying that I can soon order a new neck on Prime delivery functions. Oh, that's a very interesting quote there. So we read through that together, and the whole idea is that you're trying to get a good understanding of not only what people are saying, but how they're saying it, right? So the next tension point, the pain is taking over my entire life, I cannot function. And you're just going to go through and read through each of these tension points, right? What is the specific problem, issues, pains, stuff that they're saying directly. A lot of this stuff is just going to give you a good understanding and help you get up to speed of the general problem as a whole. Remember, we haven't talked about your product yet or how it relates to how your product can solve the problem. And I haven't mentioned it up to this point, but I'm going to be leveraging this product here that I just found a random dropshipper for selling. I'm sure we've all seen that product before, but so next we're going to get into section 2, top 3 failed solutions. So this is important, right? We want to create a common enemy throughout our copy and messaging, right? So what is going to be that thing we can say, hey, I've tried this as well. So we can further put ourselves in the shoes of our audience, specifically extracted from their own words that they've used. So the first failed solution is going to be the chiropractor, right? So this is important to acknowledge because that's one of the first enemies we can leverage. The emotional load score, so this is going to be ranked. Don't worry too much about the scores. Just understand that this is pretty important. How common? So it's referenced across 8 out of 10 threads, right? So we did 10 threads. Of course, the more you did, the more conclusive we can come to these failed solutions. So 10 threads is pretty good to understand that 8 out of 10 people explicitly described as unhelpful or harmful in 6 of those threads. So it's mentioned 8 times out of the 10 threads, and 6 out of those 8 times it was unhelpful or harmful. That is a really good data point there. So what they've tried exactly, I've been to the cryo, boom, boom, boom. So these are exact quotes pulled directly from them, right? So this is going to really help in our copy when it's time to create these new stories. Why the failure hurt. So understanding what the failure is and why it hurt. So you can read up on that. The specific cost. So there's a financial cost involved, right? You're paying all this money and just for it to not work, you have to go so often, and a lot of times it can create more issues. Failed solution number 2 is yoga. So again, 7 out of 10 there. And then massages, which is 6 out of 10. So it ranks how common we see these issues. Now, just because the issues that they were highlighted in weren't as common doesn't mean we won't eventually test them, right? So only 6 out of 10 times massages were mentioned, but it was mentioned. So that could be a point we use when creating new variations or copy down the line. Section 3, the hardest moment. So the data does not produce a single clear hardest moment, but converges on 2 scenes with roughly equal frequency intensity. Hardest moment 1. So the middle of the night alone, unable to find a position that doesn't hurt. So this is going to be important, and this is going to also help you when it comes to creating your images. The whole idea of an image is just to help stop the scroll, right? Someone's not going to look at an image and be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to buy. They're going to the image is literally there to help stop the scroll. And what we need to use with that image is one of 2 concepts. One, it needs to be just scroll stopping, something that just would make almost anybody stop the scroll. But that's going to a lot of times lead to a lot of clicks that don't always lead to the best sales, right? Because maybe the wrong person stopping the scroll and they're not, they might be engaging with the ad, but not actually a potential buyer. The second type of image that's going to be really good is going to be one that stops the scroll, but specifically stops the scroll for people that it resonates the most with, right? If I were to put a image of if I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across an image of a basketball player that I know that is holding their knee as if they're hurt, then I would stop the scroll because I'm like, oh snap, I love basketball and I know this player, and this player, they hold their knees if they got hurt. That's gonna make me stop the scroll. But if a grandma that doesn't really like basketball, or care about basketball, or even know anything about basketball sees an NBA player laying on the floor with their holding their knee, they might not stop the scroll there, and they might just keep scrolling. Right. So that is what we're trying to do when we create these images. We're trying to create images that are scroll stopping, that stand out in the feed, but also resonates with that person. And the best way to do that is by screenshotting, a lot of cases, screenshotting moments in that person's journey that would resonate with them. Right. So this section 3 further helps you understand the context and understanding of this avatar, or not avatar, but these people with this specific pain. But it also allows you to think of image ad concepts that you can then use when creating this in Nana Banana or in Hicksfield. So the hardest moment one, right? The middle of the night alone, unable to find a position that doesn't hurt, right? So obviously this is one concept or idea, right? So this is the person's in bed. They're exhausted but cannot sleep. Every position causes pain. Lying on the right side causes scream, right? So that's going to help you there. The next hardest part is going to be waking up, discovering the pain has not left overnight. So the person wakes up hoping the night's rest has reset something. I woke up with insane neck pain, entirely unable to even just straighten my head. Another woke up with severe locked neck morning, and I screamed in agony. So as you can see, the AI, unlike the first set of prompts, the AI is not inferring or guessing or creating based off of the data collected and projecting. This specific prompting is designed to pull exactly what's said from your target audience. It's no guessing or assuming. And so that's a very important distinction there. But this is all great data. Detection pattern used. Pattern 1, minimization before disclosure, and pattern 4, self-deprecation. That is not humor. So this is a direct language, right? So one of the important emotions we always try to evoke and mirror is shame, right? So shame is a very powerful emotion because it's not something we express outward too often, right? So you're never going to find somebody in a Reddit forum or like on Facebook even a lot of times, or anywhere on social media saying like, I'm so shameful of this thing that I do. Reddit though, on the other hand, you can a lot of times find people because it's anonymous. You can find people sharing their thoughts. So sorry in advance for the long post. I'm desperate. Wow, that's pretty straightforward. Apologize for taking up space before disclosing a week of long horizontal in severe pain. Not the usual tech-related subject matter, but my neck and back are killing me at the time, and I just believe in my soul. Some of you ladies know how to fix pain / posture. Please impart your brilliance because I'm becoming Gollum. So this is women in tech. It's almost embarrassing to have keep getting all this done, but for yet another, again, a new problem, right? So like people are explaining that, I'm embarrassed, or, I hate that I'm doing this, or blah, blah, blah. So AI trained it to detect exactly how to detect embarrassment. By the way, just a quick timeout for you guys. Prompting AI and creating these prompts is extremely hard. Hopefully you guys are getting value from this and you guys leverage this stuff and it works in your favor. It is so difficult to prompt stuff and train things. It's a lot of work, but hopefully you guys are gaining value from this and you're finding this useful. So what the language shows, people apologize before asking for help. Okay, so that's good to understand. Section 5 is cross-platform tension map, right? So it's going to explain to you all the Reddit, but all data originates from Reddit, but the presence of 7 distinct subreddits produces meaningful variation across community context, right? So it's letting you know what it's kind of gathered from each subreddit form. And then this is the raw language vault, so a lot of extraction that the AI believes works well in this premise here. It's been 40 years. Holy shit, I felt relief through my whole body. Thank you endlessly. It's driving me insane. So just different context pulled directly from the Reddit. And then on the left-hand side here, you're just going to gather some quick sub explanation of what it's gathered, and then you're good to go. So read through this, understand the mass pain, understand the desire, figure out how the pain that these people are going through relates to your product. We're going to talk about that in, the next prompting and scripting here, but just think about this first before the AI starts being involved at the next step here, right? So this way you understand what you need to work on, what you need to test, and compare this to the research you've already gathered in your brand Bible compared to what you kind of gathered here. I know the brand Bible has like different makeup of like avatars and angles. Obviously it's different than what we gathered here, but just see if there's overlap or similarities. And if so, understand that and make note of that. All right. So let's get to the next slide.